Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. In this update, we're gonna check out Polygon's price chart and see what is going on in the short term. And I do think we are still looking quite optimistic and bullish. But before we get into that, real quick, I think we have to talk about this very important tweet from Polygon about open money stack. Now, if you have ever tried to build a global payment product, you know the problem. You need a wallet provider, a fiat on-ramp, a fiat off-ramp, a blockchain layer, a compliance provider, cross-chain routing, and also bank accounting integrations, all from separate vendors with separate contracts and separate failure points. Polygon's open money stack actually collapses all of that into one beautiful API, and with that, you got cash ramps, bank accounts, custodial wallets, stablecoin transfers, cross-chain routing, key generation, team permissions. You got all that with one integration, one counterparty, one SLA. Now, what makes this, I would argue, quite a bit different from every other payment API out there is actually the fact that Polygon completely, from 0 to 100, owns the full vertical. Okay, most providers, it's very important to note that those are orchestrators, meaning they route between third-party ramps, wallets, and also chains. And if any one of those third parties are going to fail, well, okay, the whole system, the whole product at that point is going to completely fail. And unfortunately, they don't really have full control over all those. But Polygon in here built and operates every layer itself, including, again, wallets, ramps, the chain, the cross-chain routing, and also finally the settlement. The Coinme acquisition, I would argue, in this equation was actually probably the piece that completed the whole cash ramp layer, because without it, there would be kind of a hole, but with it, no, the whole stack is genuinely like end-to-end, covering ACH, Fedwire, RTP, Wire, Swift, Cash, and also card rails in a single API call. Now, the reason for why I think this matters quite a lot for Polygon in the mid to long term, and it's actually quite bullish, is kind of sort of straightforward. You see, every company that integrates open money stack is going to become a permanent recurring fee generating node on the Polygon network. Now, here's the thing. If you are going to adopt open money stack, switching costs are going to become enormous once you are in, because leaving at that point means what? Ripping out wallets, ramps, compliance tooling, and also bank integrations simultaneously. So as long as nothing is going to go like catastrophically wrong, I don't really think any of the Polygon partners would actually cancel their partnerships. So overall, number one, I think this is going to bring a whole lot of adoption towards Polygon's way. Number two, I think this is also bullish for us as Polygon investors, since this thing is going to generate a good bit of fees, which part of those called base fees are going to get used to burn Polygon tokens, which hopefully put down the line deflationary pressure on Polygon's tokenomics. And number three, because of the nature of open money stack being very much sticky, I'm gonna say this again is going to generate recurring fees, which is basically the best kind of fees that we love in Polygon. So for the conclusion, once again, I'm gonna say this is a very bullish development for Polygon, and honestly, every chain that is able to do this should probably go this way. But the thing is, not a lot of chains are actually able to do this, and a lot of them are too lazy to do it. But Polygon, hey, seems like doing it all, and that's precisely why we are so bullish in this project. Now, with all that said, let's go on the live chart and see what is going on in like very short term. Because if you remember, the last time that we were on POL's chart, it was specifically right around this area, and we argued in an ideal scenario we want to see yet another move on the upside. And now that in this specific phase of Polygon we managed to take the highs, I'm actually comfortable calling this a hopefully correction structure with quite a bit of confidence, and say no, I don't really think that in Polygon we are actually looking quite bearish, and maybe starting from the lows down here about 6.7 cents, we are having a correction up, and the final low, it's not really yet. In my view, there's actually a very good argument to be made that in Polygon we are looking quite optimistic, and odds are minimum in the short term we can expect yet another move on the upside. And then if we end up having a move down, honestly, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And you know what, in my view at least, it's going to be definitely part of the bullish process. Why am I telling you this? Because In case you are a new viewer to the channel, you should note that my main field of work is Elliott's waves, and Elliott suggests if you want to be bullish on any chart and you want to say, for example, in here we're going to have our final low, then okay, off of your lowest low, you have to be able to find a 5 wave to the upside. This specific count is called an impulse. Rules for it are we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4 and the any kind of 5 wave. This wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. And here's the thing. After completing an impulse to the upside, right around the highs, it's not going to be a buy opportunity. Why? Because we argue, according to Elliott's waves, after completing a 5 wave, bullish or bearish, one way or the other, we're going to have a move on the opposite direction, which in this scenario naturally translates to what? A bit of a move on the downside. And if this thing is going to have certain characteristics, yeah, fair enough. At that point, we're going to be bullish with a whole lot more confidence. Now, with that in mind, let's go on the live chart. Okay, so let's argue that we're going to get another move up. At that point, I'm hoping that in Polygon, we're going to get a deep correction down, which, number one, should be a rather time-consuming move to the downside when you are going to compare it to this phase up. And number two, if during this phase down between our pullbacks up, we're going to have a good bit of overlapping of the waves, that could be a good sign, indication of having in here, hopefully a correction structure, meaning what? Overall, on a higher degree, you're dealing with 5 up, correction down. This is actually a bit of a bullish setup, suggesting hopefully the lowest end. And if you are lucky, this can be a wave 1 on a higher degree, correction for 2. And what's next? Actually, a rather strong and extended phase up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. So you see, having a move down, it's not necessarily going to be a bad sign. It's just going to be part of the bullish process. As long as, again, I'm just hoping that we're going to get another move up and then get a bit of a move to the downside. Now, do I have some reasons to believe? Yeah, most likely we are going to have this short-term move up in order to take this high about 8.5 cents and go hopefully quite a bit higher. Maybe from the current point, we can have, yeah, sure, something like a 10 to 15% maximum move on the upside. I think so. That reason actually comes down to what is going on in the King BTC itself. You see, in Bitcoin, it seems like that we are actually having a break out of this beautiful ascending channel, and it's not really confirmed yet. Okay, you need to understand this. When will it get confirmed? You see, we argue if you want to say that this channel is broken, you need to see a move above the higher band. So far, check. Correction down in order to have a retest of this level. Also check, and then you want to see another move up. And the moment it's in this phase, we take this important high. Yep, at that point, this channel is confirmed as broken. And what's going to be the target? Well, here's the thing. You need to put your chart on regular scale and then measure the height of your pattern and put it at your breaking point. There we go. As you can see, this is giving you in BTC a target of roughly around 69.5K, but I think we can go up to maximum, I would argue, $71,000. And during this phase, I'm hoping that some altcoins, definitely not all of them, because some of those are looking absolutely terrible, but some altcoins that are having decent charts are going to actually follow the king and go up quite a bit. And I think Polygon is actually going to be one of those alts, and we would really love to see yet another move on the upside in this phase. And sure, maybe we're gonna have something like this. We're gonna have a move up first and then a move to the downside in order to take the lows, and possibly, not really confident yet, but possibly complete subwaves for an A, B, C zigzag, and then we can get a move on the upside. Since, by the way, I do expect that in about maybe 48 hours, Bitcoin dominance actually is going to hit a rather decent short-term resistance area. And if in, for example, BTC does D, we're going to get a move down. And in Bitcoin, at the same time, we're going to get a move on the upside. That translates to some altcoins, again, some altcoins performing really well. And I'm really hoping that Polygon is going to be one of those. So for now, in Polygon, as long as we're not proven otherwise, let's count on having in this area yet another move up in order to take the highs. And then if we get a move down, yeah, that's not that big of a deal. Honestly, it could be, assuming that we are able to identify the proper subwaves in here, a beautiful long opportunity for us. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in POL's chart. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.